Hello everyone and welcome to Slipjoint Sawyer. A little bit of a different review for you today. We'll be taking a look at a lock-in knife. Now it's not very often I take a look at these, pretty much some of them have to take my fancy to even think about picking them up. But I did get an email from Vosteed themselves asking if I'd like to take a look at their Racoon. Honestly, it's a crossbar lock. I've not had many of them. I wanted to try some out. So I thought, I'd take them up on the offer and see what it's all about. And I will say before we get into it, this is a fantastic knife, and I honestly think for the price of this thing, it's going to be hard to beat. But let's take a look at the packaging. Vosteed box, black with the sort of the orange V at the bottom here and their logo up here. You can see we're taking a look at the Vosteed Racoon CB. That is for the crossbar, and the model number is RCCB32VTMN. So a pretty large mouthful of a model number there, and you can see this has the 14C28N satin blade in the green micarta handle. Now, I got a couple of options to pick from, and I went for the satin blade because I'm not a huge black blade lover, and I went for the micarta because I'd like this to be a working knife and to have a lot of grip. G10's nice, but micarta is my sort of preference. So you've got Vosteed on the bottom here and at the top here. Usual sort of paperwork you get inside a knife in the box. You do get a cool little sticker of the Racoon on there in his sort of build-in uniform. Nice little addition to the box. The knife comes in this very sort of standardized pouch. It comes in a little bag here with some excess springs in case the crossbar springs decide to pack in, and then a Vosteed microfiber in there as well. But enough about the packaging, let's take a look at the knife. Here it is, the Vosteed Racoon. This is in the green micarta, and for me, right off the bat, it has some sort of similarities to the Benchmade Bugout, and there's quite a few reasons, one of them being the price difference, where I think this actually honestly is going to be a Benchmade beater, especially for the price. The blade steel is pretty good. Is it as good as the the S30V Plus you get on a Bugout? No, this is only 14C28N, but for the value for money on this, I think is way above what you'd be paying for the Bugout, honestly. You can have the pocket clip tip up left and right hand carry, and it's nice that it comes with screws and a little blanking plate here, so you're not just left with a sort of a little open cavern where sometimes they leave a little gap. We've got T6 holding all these together, T6 on, is it T6 on? T8 on the thumb stud, T8 on the pivot, and T8 here, and then these obviously a T6 here as well. Really nice design on the pivot there. It's really simple, but you can see you've got those three cutouts around, just adding a little bit of design to it, and on the back you can see the same thing again. There is their logo on the pocket clip, and it is deep carry, but not ultra deep carry. You're still going to have this much sticking out of your pocket, but it does mean, I do quite like the lanyard hole being here. It means the lanyard will also stick out of your pocket, rather than some knives having a deep carry pocket clip and the lanyard tube being down here. Kind of defeats the point of having a lanyard for me. The lanyard's there for me to pull it out of my pocket with it. Tang of the blade is nicely hidden then by the scales. Let's take a look at the blade. Great action on this, and it is drop shutty, this thing. And for a crossbar lock to be able to spidey flick and thumb flick is absolutely superb. See this beautiful sort of drop point style spear blade on here. We've got a little bit of jimping at the top, which makes it really comfortable, and it gives you a nice bit of grip for your thumb when you've got it in this sort of grip position. And there is enough room here on this sort of elongated sharpening choil. For me, at least, I'm able to sneak up and get a lot more control over the blade. And you have this beautiful flat grind, which means this is going to be an absolute slicing machine. Little bit of a saber grind at the top here, but very, very minimal. You can see this flat portion at the top. No swedging or anything like that. And you can see it's a nice working stock on there. And the tip isn't too delicate either. So you're not going to have any concerns about using any sort of delicate prying or even sort of piercing with this. So you've got the Vosteed on the front here, and on the back we have the 14C28N, and I love the fact they've not plastered their logo or model numbers all over the blade. Some of them put them up here where you can really see it, and I'm not a fan of that. This I can sort of live with, and having the blade steel designation on the back is fine as well. There's nothing really about that. As I mentioned, it is absolutely drop shutty. Now let me just bring you up a bit so you get the full action of that. Look at that. There's no sort of hang up on that at all. You get the best action you could possibly want with this. Now you've got the micarta covers, which have steel liners sort of inlaid into them, and you can see them there, which have been milled out as well. And then you've got the spacer at the back here, which is also green micarta. Overall, an absolutely fantastic work knife, one that will be a beater in anyone's sort of collection. Multiple opening and deployment methods. My favourite, of course, being the good old thumb flick. I just get the most sort of pleasure out of that in the most normal sort of sense of the word possible, that it's just the go-to for me. Spidey flick is fine as well, but I always feel when I do a Spidey flick, I'm going to throw the knife because my grip wants to go to just being this light sort of pinch, whereas in a thumb grip, I've got the knife held on the pocket clip and it's secure in my hand. It doesn't feel like it's going to go anywhere. You could also crossbar flick it like that, and that's not going to go anywhere, but you've got a secure grip. But for me, it's that every day of the week. Open construction, beautifully designed Vosteed Racoon. Gets a thumbs up from me for being a work knife. I will put this to the test, and I'll update you in a future sort of short or something how I feel it's going, but I think this is going to be fantastic. Razor sharp out of the box, beautiful edge grind all the way down. Honestly, for me, I wouldn't bother going to get a bug out. I would just get something like this. Because the more you spend on the knife, the less you're going to want to use it hard use. So if you get yourself like a cheap beater or something that's sort of mid-range like this, you're going to have a lot more fun and enjoyment out of that knife. So for me, definitely for a Vosteed Racoon, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Apologies for that, as usual. The postman turned up right in the middle of me recording, and Buster started barking. But overall, I'm very happy with this knife. I want to thank Vosteed once again for sending this to me. I did not pay anything for this. It was sent to the channel for review. But I hope you enjoyed this overview of the Vosteed Racoon and you found it useful. Maybe pick one up yourself, see what it's all about. But for me, it's fantastic. And the model number again is RCCB32VTMN. And that's 14C28N satin and the green micarta handle. But I hope you enjoyed this. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.